Hello students, I am Professor Anchal and I am going to talk about theories of motivation in this video. Basically, theories are the different concepts given by uh, different management experts and authors who have, given the theories or concepts how employees are motivated differently to perform better. So further, the theories are divided into 9 categories. First is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Herzberg two-factor theory, McClelland's need theory of motivation, Alderfer's ERG theory, McGregor's theory X and theory Y, theory Z, Victor Vroom's expectancy theory, Stacey Adams' equity theory, and quality of work life. So first one is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So let's talk about this. Now Maslow, Professor Maslow or Sir Maslow has given his different perspective of motivating employees where he has given one pyramid. And in that pyramid, he has divided the different levels of human need into 5 categories, right? So those 5 categories or those 5 levels are shown in this triangle diagram according to their priorities. So first one is the physiological need, which is a need for food, shelter, water, which is the basic need. Second one is the safety need, which is also a part of basic need, where employee wants some kind of financial or health security or job security within the organization. Third level is the need for belongingness, love, and some social relationships within the organization. Fourth level or fourth need is the need for self respect, which is known as self esteem needs or a sense of prestige in the organization. And the last one is the self actualization needs, where every employee where he thinks that he is capable of doing certain things, and that in that level he actually tries to achieve his potential and to do something creative and unique within the organization so that he can fulfill his need, which is self actualization. So let's talk about them in detail. Physiological needs are those needs required for human survival, such as air, food, water, shelter. Safety needs are those needs that provide a person with sense of security and well-being. It could be personal security, financial security. Social needs are also like known as love and belongingness, a sense of acceptance or belongingness within the organization. And the next one is esteem needs, where employee wants to have some self-respect and a kind of prestige within the organization. And the last one is self-actualization needs, where employee wants to utilize his full potential so that he can reach the desired level. So the next theory of motivation, which is given by Herzberg, two-factor theory, where he has divided these, his theory or motivation into 2 factors. That is hygiene factors and motivators, or we can say motivational factor. He says that there are 2 factors present within the organization. It may cause dissatisfaction, and so there are some factors which may cause some kind of satisfaction, or they can motivate employee to perform better, right? So if we talk about first category, which is the hygiene factors, says that it include company policies, supervision, working condition, salary, safety, security. If employees they are not satisfied with those company policies, supervision, salary, etc., then they will be dissatisfied, right? And when they will be dissatisfied, they will not be performing better. They'll not give good productivity, right? So these are the hygiene factors, which are the factors of dissatisfaction, whose absence, or if those factors are not up to the expectation of the employee, it will definitely affect adversely towards the productivity of the organization. Next one is the motivators, or you can say the motivational factors, whose absence will not cause any kind of dissatisfaction, but whose presence will definitely motivate employees to perform better. It could be achievement, recognition, interesting work, increased responsibilities, etc. So further, there's a diagram in which you can see that there are one side there is hygiene factor, another side there are motivators, one side there are the factors of dissatisfaction, another side these are the factors of motivation. So as I told you in previous slide, that hygiene factors, company policy, supervision, working conditions, salary security, and another one are the factors of motivation. It could be achievement or recognition within the organization, some interesting work, increased responsibility will definitely motivate employee to perform better. So this is the Herzberg two-factor theory, which talks about how employees will be motivated to perform better and to be efficient towards their job. Next theory is the McClelland's need theory of motivation. Basically, in this theory, he has divided the needs into three categories: need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. McClelland says that when these three needs are fulfilled, then employees will be motivated towards his job. So further, if we talk about first need for achievement. So here employee want to do something where, like, those who have need for achievement, they have a strong need to be successful. They want to be successful in their life, right? So that need keeps on forcing them, stimulating them to perform better. That is that this need of achievement is a kind of motivation for them. As children, they may be praised for their hard work, which forms the foundation of their persistence, right? Like if children do some hard work, they will be praised, and if they know that they will if they'll perform better, they will be praised, they will be recognized, then they will try to repeat that behavior. Okay, so need for achievement is what need where the person wants to be successful. Another need is the need for affiliation. He thinks that individuals who have a high need for affiliation, they want to be liked and accepted by others. They want to have a good acceptance and a good, social relation with their surroundings. So there is a need for affiliation. Next is the need for power, where employee wants to fulfill the need of power, where he wants to instruct others, he wants to control the environment. In that case also, he wants to do something where he could have the need for power, he could fulfill this need, and so that he can instruct others, he can control the environment, right? So this is a third need. So these are the three categories of need which is given by McClelland, and he says that by fulfilling these needs, or these needs can motivate employees to perform better. Now next is the Alderfer's ARG theory. Basically, Alderfer's has modified the Maslow's hierarchy of need that we studied, which is the initial theory, right? So he has divided those five levels of need into three, which is known as ERG, where E stands for existence, R stands for relatedness, and G stands for growth. These three needs keeps on motivating employees to perform better. Now, first one is the existence. This existence need corresponds to what? This corresponds to Maslow's first two basic needs, which is the physiological need and safety needs. Relatedness needs, where employee want to have good sense of belongingness and social acceptance, right? So relatedness needs corresponds to social need of Maslow. Now growth needs are the last two needs in that diagram, which were self-esteem and self-actualization. So like this, Alderfer's has divided his need or his theory into three categories of need. Okay, and he says that employees are motivated to fulfill these needs to perform better. Now, next one is McGregor's theory X and theory Y. In this theory, McGregor says that there are two variety or two kind of people that that are present within the organization. One are the in first category according to theory X. He says that there are people, there are employees who want continuous instructions to perform better. On the other side, theory Y is just opposite of theory X, which says that employees under this category are self-motivated, self-directed. So under theory X relies on the authoritarian style of management where managers are required to give instruction and keep a close check on each employee, as it is assumed that employees are not motivated and they dislike working. Now under theory X, manager think like employees are not motivated, they don't want to work, so every time they want to push them, every time they want to give direction and give instruction, then only employees will perform. But in case of theory Y, employee or the manager believes that the employees are self-directed, self-motivated, and they try to accomplish organizational objectives in a more efficient manner. So that is why theory Y relies on the participative style of management, where managers assume that the employees are self-directed and self-motivated to accomplish organizational goal. Now, in this chart, we can see that how theory X is different from theory Y on the basis of certain spheres or certain perspective. If we talk about first one, which is attitude, so under theory X, people dislike work, they find it boring. On the other hand, theory Y, people like their work, they want to take good interest in their work and they enjoy it, right? Next is direction, where under theory X, they want every time they want direction, every time they want instruction to perform better. But in case of theory Y, they are self-directed, they know what they have to do. Next is the category of responsibility. They avoid responsibility in case of theory X, but in case of theory Y, they take initiative to perform some task. They take they come forward to take some responsibility. Next category is the motivation, where under theory X, employees are motivated by fear, lack of money. They are motivated by lack of job security. But under theory Y, employees are self-motivated. They have a sense of development. They want to develop themselves, and that is why they are motivated by the desire of developing themselves and to contribute towards the organization as well as to the world. Last one is creativity. Under theory X, employees, they are not creative. They will do whatever they are being told. They'll not do anything beyond that. But in theory Y, people try to do, innovative things. They try to do the task in more efficient, unique, and innovative way. So they are more creative. So this is about the different assumptions or different, perspective, how theory X and theory Y are different, how employees of theory X are motivated and how the employees of theory Y are motivated, right? Now theory X says that higher the commitment of employees with the organization, higher will be their productivity. This theory is rooted in the idea that employees who are involved in and are more committed to an organization will be motivated to increase productivity. But this phenomena is based on certain assumption also. That is, there should be a strong relationship, a strong bond between organization and employees. Employee participation and involvement, it also plays very important role. It is assumed in theory theory Z, that if employees are given equal opportunity to participate in day-to-day decision making process, and they are completely involved in some important decisions, then it will definitely motivate them to be connected, to be committed towards the organization as well as towards their task. So employee participation and employee involvement is very much important. There is no formal organization structure. Basically, if employee feel that they are it is very easy for them to approach their managers, and it will be a kind of flat structure there, then definitely it will increase their commitment towards the organization. Last is human resource development. It is also very much important. Human resource development, continuously improving the skills and providing them good training, utilizing their potential. All these things definitely improve employee, or improve the motivates the employee to perform better and to stay connected and productive for the organization. Now, Victor Room's expectancy theory, he says that he assumes that behavior results from conscious choices among alternatives whose purpose is to maximize pleasure and to minimize pain. The main concept under this theory is that employees will choose those action, okay, which will maximize their pleasure and minimize their pain. Basically, they will perform certain activities to achieve certain goals, but to the extent where they expect that those actions that they are performing will give them good result, right? So it is a kind of relationship of actual performance and the extent of expectation, right? So to conclude this thing, the Vroom had used three variables in this. One is expectancy, instrumentality, and balance. Now if you can see in this diagram, expectancy, if we are talking about expectancy of employees, then we are talking about efforts. Now three questions arises in the mind of employees, like expectancy, where they think that will their effort lead to high performance or not. In case of instrumentality, we are talking about performance, will that performance lead to some outcome or not. In balance, do I find those outcome desirable, right? So in this case, basically Vroom, what he is trying to say, that employees are motivated to perform certain action, to perform in certain activities to such an extent where they expect that their action, their performance will lead some good result. So they keep on asking themselves these three questions, which will definitely motivate them to perform better. So that is why this is known as expectancy theory, which is given by Victor. So he has basically talked about the expectations of employees regarding their performance and regarding their outputs. Next one is the Adams equity theory. Basically, this theory talks about the fairness regarding the payment of employees and also the payment of others. So basically, in the equity theory of motivation, employees' motivation depends on their perception of how fair is their compensation and treatment for their work input. Whatever the input they are giving for a certain task, in return what they are getting, whatever they are getting, whether that is fair or not. Okay, so equity theory states that the employees perceive what they get from a job situation about what they put into, and then they compare their input output ratio with that of others input output ratio, right? Now this situation will yield three situation. Basically we can see, like under rewarded, optimal ratio of equity, and over rewarded. In case of under rewarded situation is basically not good for employees, because in this case the productivity of the employees go down. Why? Because they feel that when the input output of a person or employee is less than the input output of others, now here employee feel that they are not paid fairly. Okay, when they think that their input output is less than the others, then there is a feeling of dissatisfaction, will ultimately lead to low productivity. So under rewarded situation is not good for the organization. Next is the optimal level, which says when the input output ratio is equal to the input output of others, then the result will be no change in productivity. Neither they'll be positive nor they'll be negative. They will remain constant. So we can say it is okay kind of situation for the organization. And third one is the over rewarded, where when the input output of a person is more than the input output of other, which is a very good, this situation is positive, and motivating for employees. When they think that they are paid, fairly, even they are paid more than that of others, then they will be, something will motivate them to perform more efficiently towards the organizational goal. So this will increase the productivity of employees. So these three situations are, arises when employee compares their input output with that of others under equity theory, and how these things motivate employees. Next is the quality of work life, and I think this is the last theory of motivation, which says that the good quality of work life, where the employees are working, if the situations there, the working condition there are favorable, for the employee, then definitely they will perform better. A good quality of work life will definitely yield good output from the part of employees. It is a generic term which covers a person's feeling about every dimension of his work. For example, some economic incentive, rewards, job security. It covers actually everything which is related to the employee benefits, which is related to the organization or employees. So in this diagram, we can say how there are certain factors that contribute to the quality of work life, which makes employees satisfied and motivated towards their organizational goal. It could be providing job security, job enrichment, career growth, open communication, increased employee participation, flexible working timings, rewards and recognition. Actually, if you can see, this is covering everything from financial to non-financial benefits, working condition, future benefits, everything. If employee is okay with all of these, he's satisfied with all of these factors, then he will definitely be motivated for the organizational goal, and he will try to improve his productivity with the passage of time, right? So this is the quality of work life. That is why by giving these by satisfying the employee on the basis of these factors will give him a good quality of work life. So this is the theory of motivation, and I think we are done with the topic of theories of motivation. Thank you so much.